Shalom, brothers and sisters of the Most High Yahweh, our Elohim, and welcome to our midweek Bible study. Tonight we're going to be continuing our journey through Bereshith, which is Genesis, chapters 39 and 40. So go ahead and grab your Bibles and we'll get started tonight. Okay? Want to welcome everybody in. Go ahead and find a chair. There's plenty of chairs around. And we'll get started. Okay? Take a sip of coffee and we'll go. Alrighty then. Bereshith, which is Genesis, chapter 39. And Joseph had been taken down to Mitzrayim, Egypt. And Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard of Mitzrayim, bought him from the Ishmaelites, descendants of Ishmael, who had taken him down there. And it came to be that Yahweh was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man, and was in the house of his master, the Mitzrayim. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his eyes, and served him, and he appointed him over his house, and gave into his hand all that he had. And it came to be, from the time that he appointed him over his house and all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Mitzrayim's house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of Yahweh was on all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left in Joseph's hand all that he had, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. And Joseph was handsome in form, and handsome in appearance. And after these events it came to be that his master's wife lifted up her eyes to Joseph, and said, "Lie with me." But he refused, and said to his master's wife, "Look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has given into my hand all that he has. No one is greater in this house than I, and he has not withheld whatever from me but you, because you are his wife. And how shall I do this great evil and sin against Elohim?" And it came to be, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not listen to her, to lie with her, to be with her. And it came to be on a certain day, when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and ran outside. And it came to be, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and fled outside, that she called them to the men of her house, and spoke to them, saying, "See, he has brought in to us a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it came to be, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me, and fled, and went outside. And she kept his garment with her until his master came home. And she spoke to him these same words, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came in to me to mock me." So it came to be, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me, and fled outside. And it came to be, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, "Your servant did to me according to these words," that his displeasure burned. Then Joseph's master took him, and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison. But Yahweh was with Joseph, and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And the prison warden gave into the hand of Joseph all the prisoners who were in the prison, and whatever was done there was his doing. The prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because Yahweh was with him, and whatever he did, Yahweh made it prosper. Okay, that's 39. And we can see here that Joseph, he is a slave in Potiphar's house, and Potiphar's wife came on to him. And he said, no, 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 I'm not going to do that. And she kept on him and kept on him and finally grabbed onto his clothes and he ran outside because he was not going to offend Yahweh, his Elohim. So then she made a big scene to Potiphar and had him thrown in prison. So now he's in the prison, but the warden of the prison has taken favor to him because it's obvious that Yahweh is with him and made him over everything going on in the prison. So, let's see what happens next. Chapter 40. And after these events it came to be that the cupbearer and the baker of the sovereign of Mizraim sinned against their master, the sovereign of Mizraim. And Pharaoh was wroth with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. So he put them in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison, the place where Joseph was a prisoner. And the captain of the guard put Joseph in charge of them, and he served them, so they were in confinement for some time. Then the cupbearer and the baker of the sovereign of Mizraim, who were confined in the prison, dreamed a dream, both of them, each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation. And Joseph came into them in the morning, and looked at them, and saw that they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in confinement of his master's house, saying, Why do you look so sad today? And they said to him, We each have dreamed a dream, and there is no one to interpret it. And Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to Elohim? Relate them to me, please. So the chief cupbearer related his dream to Joseph, and said to him, See, in my dream a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded. Its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. So I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said to him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet, within 3 days Pharaoh is going to lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you shall put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former ruling, when you were his cupbearer. But remember me, when it is well with you, and please show loving commitment to me, and mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house. For truly I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and also have done naught, that they should put me into the dungeon. And the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, and he said to Joseph, I also was in my dream, and saw 3 white baskets were on my head. And in the uppermost basket all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket on my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet, within 3 days Pharaoh is going to lift off your head from you, and hang you on a tree, and the birds shall eat your flesh from you. And on the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday, it came to be that he made a feast for all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief cupbearer to his post of cupbearer again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. And the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. So as we can see, gang, apparently Yahweh is only with Joseph. None of the other brothers have taken the time to confer with Yahweh about what they're supposed to be doing. They're just doing whatever they think that they need to do. But Yahweh's with Joseph. And even though Joseph is in the prison, he's prospering. He's doing what Yahweh wants him to do, and he's being blessed for it, and everyone around him also. So Joseph's making his own way despite what happened to him, and it's going to be interesting to see how this interaction with the other 11 brothers and Yahweh, which isn't going on right now, and the relationship that Joseph has with Yahweh. We're going to watch this closely to see how it progresses and how it moves along through here. So, anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. I hope that you got something out of this study, and I hope that you're right here along with us enjoying the study of Bereshith, which is Genesis. And if by some chance you just happen to find this video and it's your first time here, I want you to feel free and be welcome here. We're a welcome group. If you have any questions, ask your questions in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. But if this is your first time, I strongly recommend that you go back to the very beginning, Genesis 1:1, and read from there. Listen to the videos and read from there. So that way you are up to speed on what's happening, because when we read the Bible, we read it from cover to cover. And you've got to understand what's going on with these genealogies and who is who in the family, or else you're going to be really lost, especially as we get further into the Bible. So do yourself a favor and go back to Genesis 1:1 if you haven't been there yet. And we'll be right here waiting for you when you catch up. Okay? Alright. Thanks for joining me, gang. And we will see you on Shabbat. Shalom.